Hey guys, welcome back to the Homestead Fam. My name is Mel and I am the owner and founder of the Homestead Fam, where I teach you everything about growing, making, preserving your own food right at home so you can become more food self-sufficient. Today we are doing something I have become obsessed with, and that is making a ginger bug. I'm going to teach you everything about making a ginger bug. I'm going to actually make a soda today and tell you all about it because it has become an obsession and I don't think that is going away anytime soon, and I want you to know about it too. So we will get right into that, but before we do, make sure to subscribe and click that little thumbs up button, and let's dive right in. So I actually have my own made ginger bug right here. It is simply a fermented ginger sugar water. So there's water, sugar, and ginger root, and that is all that is in here. And it is active, it is bubbly. Let's open it up and see if you can hear the fizz. Okay, that one didn't do so much, but it's fizzy, and if you put your ear up to it, it just crackles. It sounds so nice. And today I'm going to show you how to make your own. Now, I don't need another ginger bug because I already have one and it keeps on going. As long as you keep this active and alive, it will be alive for pretty much ever. So what I am doing today is I am going to be actually starting a new one to give to my mother-in-law because she has tried some of my sodas and has seen me doing this, and she was like, oh, I've been thinking about starting one, but I don't really know what to do. So I thought I would show you how to make one, and then I will gift her a ginger bug. So first, what will you need? You will need a filtered water, or at least a non-chlorinated water. So I use my tap water. We have a well here. So if you have city water, you're not going to want to use that because it has chlorine in it and it's not going to let that healthy bacteria to grow and thrive. So get a distilled water or have a tap water that's not chlorinated. And then you're going to need organic ginger root. So the reason for organic is sometimes the non-organic is sprayed with things that inhibits growth, inhibits the healthy bacteria. So you're going to want organic so that it can grow that healthy bacteria and become fermented. And then you're going to need a sugar. I like using raw organic sugar, but you could also use just regular white sugar. Some people like to use honey, but you're going to see a lot of sugar going in here. But I just want to tell you ahead of time that if you're worried about the sugar content, that don't make that stop you, because what happens is the healthy bacteria feeds on that sugar. So it actually eats that sugar and then making that a very low sugar drink. So you'll see a lot of sugar going into it, but the healthy bacteria is going to eat it all up, so there's really not going to be much sugar in here. So all you need is your water, your ginger root, and your sugar. So first, I have 2 cups of my water in here, and I'm just going to start this off by roughly chopping my unpeeled, so you want the peel on, or the skin, and then but you want it clean. So just rinse it off, give it a good rinse to get any like dirt off, but you want the skin on because that's going to help that healthy bacteria to grow. And I'm just going to like finely chop this. It doesn't have to be super thin. You can also grate this if you want to, but I find the easiest thing to do is just to finely chop it up. And I'm going to do about 2 inches or about 2 tablespoons of this ginger root. And you can measure these super precisely, but at the end of the day, it's really not going to matter. So just eyeball it. And I'm going to throw this right into... Actually, I'm not going to do that first. I'm going to put my sugar in, because I want to dissolve the sugar first. So I'm going to put 2 tablespoons of sugar into my water. And I'm just going to give that a nice swirl. until most of that sugar dissolves. You can also use a spoon. And if there's some in the bottom still floating around in there, it's okay. You just want most of it to be dissolved in there. And then once that is pretty much dissolved, this will also be a lot easier or a lot quicker if you use like hot water, but also you don't want to necessarily start this with hot water. You want it to be more room temperature. So you could always use 1 cup of really hot water and then dissolve your sugar and then add some cold water into it. That would probably be the easiest way, but it's now all dissolved in what that took 30 seconds maybe. So now we're gonna add our 2 inches or 2 tablespoons of ginger root. And now we are just going to cover this. And that is all you have to do on day 1. So day 1 is simply that you add everything into your jar. And then I put an actual lid with a seal on top because your ginger bug wants a closed environment. That's what's gonna help it ferment. It doesn't want the oxygen in there. It needs to be like this to bubble, to ferment, to thrive. So I always put a lid, a closed lid on my ginger bug. Sometimes you'll see some resources saying an open lid, kind of like you would with a sourdough starter, but that's not what your ginger bug likes. It likes a closed environment. So make sure that you use a closed, because that is one of the biggest issues that I see people running into is they're like, my ginger bug isn't starting, it's not active, and it's because they're not using a closed lid. This is key. So each day I'm going to take that ginger bug and I'm going to feed it 1 tablespoon of sugar, swirl it up to dissolve it again, and 1 tablespoon or 1 inch of that ginger root, and that is going to feed it. And you do that every single day, and by day 5 or 6, you should start to see quite a little bit of activity, quite a little bit of bubbles, and usually by day 7, you can start making a soda. So I'm just going to feed that every day, and I'm going to set that aside. And now I'm going to show you on day 7 what you're going to do to turn your ginger bug into a ginger bug soda. So first, we're going to open this up, make sure it's active. I already know mine's active. This one's probably, maybe 2 months old now. So I'm going to take my ginger bug, and this is a 16-ounce flip top bottle. I highly suggest you getting the flip top bottles because it is made for the pressure and you will less likely have explosions. And if you could use it in just like or you could make your soda in just like a regular mason jar, but you're going to be very careful because you're going to want to burp this very often so that it's not building up that gas and you don't want an exploding jar all over your kitchen. So we have a 16-ounce bottle here, and for a 16-ounce bottle, which is about 2 cups, we're going to want about a 1/4 cup of ginger bug, just the liquid. So I usually just eyeball this because I've done it so many times now that I just know how high it comes up on the bottle. And again, every recipe, like ginger bug, this is why I love it, is it's not finicky. It's not super technical. If you can't really screw it up, and if you do, there's almost always a way to kind of save it. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to take a funnel and a little baby strainer, and I'm just going to strain in about a 1/4 cup of my ginger bug. And of course I'm going to spill some because I do every time. And that is about a 1/4 cup. I'm just going to dump any other ginger pieces that were in my strainer back in and close this up. And now that I have my ginger bug in here, I'm going to add any type of juice, simple syrup, flavoring, anything you want on top here. The key to this is that you're going to want to make sure it has a high enough sugar content that it has enough sugar for the ginger bug to feed on. If it doesn't, it's going to be flat. It's not going to carbonate how you want it to. So you want to make sure there is sugar in what you are adding. So today I am going to be using some of my homemade cranberry juice. And this already does have sugar in it because I made it. I know how much sugar I added. So I'm going to add some of this. Okay, and that brought us about halfway up. I will be feeding the cranberries to my chickens. And now I am going to make this a cranberry orange juice. So I have some orange juice over here. And this is 100% orange juice. And I'm sure that I'm probably going to spill this, so we'll see. Oh, just a little bit. And perfect. So we're going to want to bring this up to about 1 to 2 inches from the top of your flip top bottle. Again, because it's going to build gases, it's going to create gas. And although these flip top bottles are made for it, you need some place for the gas to go. So make sure you leave some room. Okay, now that I have the cranberry and orange juice in there, I know how much sugar was in this, but I'm not quite sure how much is in the orange juice. And usually citrus juices do perform really well. But I'm just going to add like a tablespoon or 2 of sugar to this just to make sure it's going to carbonate well. Now, if you are adding something that has very low or no sugar at all, I highly suggest that you add around 3 tablespoons to your bottle. And again, it might seem like a lot, but you are going to have your ginger bug eat all of that sugar. So it ends up being a very low sugar drink. So I'm going to put the flip top onto the bottle. And I'm just going to give it a little swirl because I just added sugar and we want to dissolve that a little bit. Again, if it's not completely dissolved, it'll be just okay. I'm actually very excited for this one because it is very pretty and I'm excited to see how this cran orange tastes. And so after all or most of that sugar is dissolved, I am going to keep this right on my counter and let it ferment for about 24 to 48 hours. Usually in my home, it only takes 24 hours. I also have a heat mat that I like to keep my ferments on, so it increases the temperature, allowing them to ferment faster. So depending on the temperature of your home, it might take a little longer or a little less, but within 1 to 2 days, you will have a delicious bubbly drink that is naturally carbonated, low sugar, great for your gut, has tons of probiotics, and you'll probably be addicted just like I am. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please let me know in the comments. Let me know if you have any other questions about ginger bugs or what kind of flavor combinations you would like to see me try. And make sure to subscribe, hit that like button, and I will see you next time.